Welcome everybody to the Wake Up Call channel. I've talked over the years about how the technology is going to get inside of the body. And every single year, we see the technology getting us closer and closer and closer to that. I want to thank a subscriber over on the website, Kayla Parker, for sharing this with me and everybody over on the website about this new iPhone update that now has eye tracking. And remember, I've talked about the transition of the phone going to your wrist, the phone going to your eyes. Now we're actually seeing people who are able to use this technology with the iPhone, where instead of touching the screen with your finger, in other words, when you go to one of your apps on your phone, if you click on your photos on your phone, you press it with your finger. All you need to do now with this new iPhone app is stare at the app you want to select. And it's almost getting to the point where this technology is a form of telepathy. This technology is a form of telekinesis, right? This is a form of witchcraft, but this is the technology where we're headed towards. And like I've mentioned before, I'll show you the ad that Apple is using. I've mentioned this before. The way they get people on board at first with this frightening technology is by telling you that this is to benefit poor people out there who suffer from certain diseases. Of course, these are all diseases that they create through the chemical baths that they put us through. So people with Parkinson's, people with disabilities who aren't able to use their hands to touch the screen. So they tell you that they've invented this type of tech for those people. But ultimately what it is to desensitize you to this technology, to accept this type of technology where the camera on the phone could actually read your retina, and then to eventually have this marketed to you where you say, well, I'm going to try that. Even though that's made for people with disabilities, that sounds like fun. And eventually when the phone is embedded inside of you, that's what it's going to be like. You're going to be able to see things out of your own eye. You're not going to be a human anymore. You're going to be mixed. The mixing of iron and clay is what it is. You're going to be mixed man and machine. Here's the commercial from Apple. And again, look at how they try to market this. We believe the best technology works for everyone. It's for all people. Yeah, that's right. Because the mark of the beast is for everyone. Everyone who's dumb enough to take it. So when you look at a story like this is scary where we're headed towards, right? If you came out or they came out with this technology 15, 20 years ago, people would have been very resistant. They would have said, how in the world are we allowing the phone to read our retinas? I never asked for this. I just got a phone so I could call people in case my car broke down, right? They had to wait. They've had the ability to do these types of things with the technology that they have. Remember, their technology is so far advanced, we couldn't even fathom what they're capable of doing. It's so far advanced, you wouldn't even believe it. Why do they wait so long to roll this stuff out? Because they have to condition you into more, little by little. You keep giving the big tech companies the ability to do these things without saying, wait a second, I got a phone just to make phone calls, just to text. That's it, right? That's all I got it for. Well, when they start introducing all these types of apps and all these types of things that you could do with your retina, at first people are like, oh, okay. And that's why they market it to you and to everyone out there as if, well, this is just for people with disabilities. Because remember, we care about everyone. It's a very small market, right? How small is the market for people who can't use their finger? It's actually, who are paralyzed. First of all, what do they even, need a cell phone for, right? But of course they want you can't ask questions like that. Because everybody needs a phone. Remember, everybody needs this. You're weird if you don't have a phone. You're weird if you're not in with the tech, right? They try to make it sound like you're, what do they kids say, boomer or something like that. You're not hip to it. You're not smart enough. These are all things that they do to get everybody on board with things like Facebook and with the technology. So how small is the audience out there of people in general? who would not be able to touch the screen, that Apple would invest this type of money into it because they care so much about being inclusive, right? They care so much about these poor, small percentage of people, which is probably under 1% of the population, that they would invest money in this type of tech. It's not for those people. It's for everyone. This, again, gets you, what it starts to do is it normalizes what we look at as an interface, right? Think about an interface. So when you go on your phone, if you have a Droid or you have an iPhone, right? There's the whole backdrop of the phone, right? It's a different interface. You have your widgets and your apps and all that type of stuff, which I don't know too much about, but I know how a phone works, obviously, right? And you scroll through the phone, that's your interface. You know where to go. You're like, oh, here's my banking, here's my this, here's my that, right? Unfortunately, that's the point we're at where people are doing this on their phones. Well, now you start getting to the point where you're going to see this directly through your eyes. The interface that they're going to normalize is an interface you're going to see out of your own eyes. So in other words, what you see on your screen is going to eventually come out of your eyes. You're going to see propaganda. I've talked about this too over the years, not just about paraplegics, et cetera, who need this like they're doing with the Neuralink, but also you'll probably hear propaganda about, well, people are looking at their phones too much. They're walking into traffic. They're bumping into each other. Obviously, we know about these people who are extremely dangerous, who are texting and driving. You may see them all the time. Every time I'm driving, I can see these people swerving. You think it was a drunk. You look over, you see them texting on their phone, right? They'll start finally announcing and talking about these stories because they're going to say, well, the next best thing would be, for you to see this stuff through your eyes. And of course, that'll go into driverless cars too. But they need people to start getting conditioned with doing these things through just looking through their eyeballs, with just thinking these thoughts as well. That's what we're headed towards. That's what the Neuralink is. I said telepathy. That's a word everybody should know about. Telepathy is the purported vicarious transmission of information from one person's mind to another's without using any known human sensory channels. Okay, that's what they're trying to do. Read minds, control minds through technology. Everybody thinks it's a crazy conspiracy, right? They don't even see that this technology is already out there in the public. These people at these massive events like the World Economic Forum, where all the rich are going, this is what they're talking about. Pushing the Neuralink, pushing this type of stuff where they say, hey, we want to work with mind and machine technology. So, if your stress levels are high in your brain one day, your boss could be alerted, or if you're thinking thoughts about a coworker that you shouldn't be thinking, that we could alert somebody, and everyone out there hears this stuff and they're like, oh, okay, that's pretty interesting. And it's like, where do we stop? When does it stop? Apparently it doesn't stop in today's world. So you saw how this is being marketed. Apple announced that the updates for global disability awareness day, that's when they announced this, of course, global disability. So they're saying, hey, we have this eye tracking technology that lets users control their iPhones and iPads by monitoring where they look. Who allowed them to even have this technology? When you bought a phone, did you consent to this? That the phone could read your eyes? Now, maybe it is in the written, paperwork, but they know nobody's going to read it. And they know even the writing in that is so small, you would need a microscope to even be able to look at it. But did anybody consent to the phone being, actually being, like, when you buy it, do you say, hey, I'm buying this phone and I'm giving the rights to Apple to be able to monitor where my eyes are looking? No, they don't. But nobody even thinks like that anymore. They just go, oh, well, okay, I guess the phone could track my eyes. But it's for Global Disability Awareness Day. So just like if you question certain people you're not allowed to question, if you say anything about, hey, why are you questioning what Apple's doing? They're trying to help people. What are you, hateful toward? That's how they would respond. What are you, hateful towards people with disabilities? Right? That's all they have to do is just poo-poo it. They just twist all this stuff to being hateful or, oh, you don't care about people, when it's very clear what these sinister people are trying to do. So Apple is letting iPad and iPhone users control their devices with a glance of their eyes. And of course, it always starts this way, right? Well, you could opt into it. You can go into your settings and you could pick this out. So if you're somebody who doesn't want to use their finger because your finger hurts, or you're just like, oh, that's an extra step I don't need to use, right? Remember, another way they market this technology, right? Oh, you shouldn't have to get up and hit the light switch if you want to put the lights on. Just do it on your phone. You shouldn't have to get up and put on the air conditioner. Do it on your phone. You got a security system, put it on your phone. Lock yourself in your home. Yeah, come on. Just do it that way. Little by little, right? Easier, more convenient, faster, faster, faster. I always tell people, everyone's in a rush to get nowhere, right? All these things, oh yeah, it's quicker, it's faster. But well, what's the rush? Too hard to get up and press the light switch? Apparently, right? So they start by saying, go into your settings, go into your settings. You can do it if you want. If you want to, you can do it. This gives people the illusion that they have the choice to do this or not do this. 5 years from now, you won't have the choice. Hey, the newest iPhone, this is the new feature. Get used to it, right? Little by little. Oh, when you turn the phone on and you buy the phone, like they do now, right? When you get one of these new phones, for me, burner phones. When you get these phones, they ask you to put your thumbprint in, right? They ask you to scan every time. Do you want to opt in? Do you want to opt in? And you click, oh no, I don't want to opt in, right? Eventually, you won't have the option. And the same will be with this. So a new AI-powered feature named eye tracking unveiled by Apple is designed for people with physical disabilities. Apple says it's coming in 2024. The feature uses the front-facing camera to set up and collaborate through collaborate, though Apple says it does not access or share any data. Of course, they don't access or share any data, right? They always tell you this stuff, and these suckers out there are just like, well, it says they're there. They don't share your data. Oh, right. Yeah. Go look at your phone and see how many texts and solicitors you get. Who's sharing your data? Who's sharing it? Are you? No, you're like, how did this person get my number? Why is this company calling me? Oh, right, because they're sharing your data. You're the data that they're sharing, okay? But they just tell you, it's all it takes. We're not sharing your data. Oh, okay, they're not sharing my data. Oh, okay, right. They've already got your eyes. They got your fingerprints. Then they get your mind, right? So users can navigate with dwell control, which works by monitoring how long the eyes stay trained on various controls. Users can access physical buttons and complete swipes and other gestures with their eyes. For nearly 40 years, Apple has championed inclusive design by embedding accessibility at the core of our hardware and software. There's your mind control, right from Tim Cook. Apple has championed inclusive design. You can't question inclusivity, right? When inclusivity in that technology is released, if you say anything about it, you're a hateful person, you're a bigot, you don't care about people with disabilities, you're awful, stop thinking about yourself. They use all these low-level tactics of mind control that work on the sheeple out there. They don't work on people like me. And I know they don't work on people that listen to this channel. So it says eye tracking will be included in iOS and iPad OS with no additional hardware required. The tech giant rolled out a suite of changes ahead of Global Accessibility Awareness Day. Other updates include music nobody cares about the other updates. So I've often mentioned my belief of the mark of the beast, the mixing of iron and clay. And a lot of people out there disagree. They think I hear Sunday law the most. It makes the least amount of sense to me, but everybody's allowed to have their own opinion. Okay, I give my opinion on this channel. You don't have to agree with everything I say. It's not a requirement to listen. I'm just trying to get you to think. But remember, the mark of the beast, you will not be able to buy or sell without the mark of the beast, right? What do we see everything headed towards? Everything is going to be digital. Remember the digital ID, the requirement. It's going to be a requirement to have a digital ID to be able to buy and sell online. The digital ID might start off like you taking a picture of your license, but it's going to end up being embedded in your genetic code. Okay, that's what they're conditioning you with as well with mRNA. So Apple, I've talked about often. I've always viewed Apple as potentially being the company that serves the mark of the beast, as crazy as that might sound. Apple, the first computer, $666.66. Apple, the logo itself, is the forbidden fruit. That's what it represents. Steve Jobs wasn't sitting there going, we need a logo for the company. He opened his fridge up. He's like, what do I got in here? Oh, I have an apple, right? And then what? Why is there a bite mark in the apple? Because it's supposed to represent the forbidden fruit, the forbidden knowledge. This is what the secret societies are based off of. I've talked very often about, skull and bones, secret societies. Genesis chapter 3, verse 22. And the Lord God said, quote, behold, the man has become as one of us to know good and evil. And now lest he put forth his hand and take also of the tree of life and eat and live forever, right? What does Revelation tell us as well? There will be those in the end times who seek death and are not able to find death. Revelation chapter 9, verse 6, right? In those days, people will seek death and will not find it. They will long to die, but death will flee from them. This is the mixing of iron and clay. This is man and machine. Look at these things. Connect the dots. Connect the dots with corporations or companies like Apple, brands that you're supposed to trust that get promoted to us. Oh, Apple's got the best products. Apple's the best. Nobody sees all these suspicious signs because they don't pay attention. When I point out the first Apple computer, I'm shocked at how many people don't know about it at this point. Every time I bring it up to somebody, like, get out. That's not real. They don't believe it. They don't believe it. I got to show them Steve Wozniak telling us that.
So Steve Jobs went in to sell him some of our little boards that we built for $20. He said no. People want to come in, they want to buy it pre-built. They want to buy the thing ready to go. It cost us $250 to build maybe. We'd sell it for $500. And then the retail price was $666.66 because I, as a mathematician, like repeating digits. And that was what it should be.
Telling us that it's $666.66 and then giving us what we call a shark-eating grin, telling us that's because they like round numbers. Oh, they couldn't be 555, couldn't be 777. Of course it was 666, right? Nobody there was like, hey, you know, that might be a number that scares people. We probably shouldn't use that, especially back in the 80s. More people were conservative and Christian and seeing stuff than they are now, so they would have been like, hey, this could just put us out of business. Probably not a good way to start our company up. Oh, right. Right in front of our faces. It always is. So this is a step towards that. That's what this is. This is what it is, a step towards getting this tech in you. Retina scanning, being able to do this stuff, telekinesis, right? Telepathy, being able to control thoughts, being able to do things with your eyes, move things with your eyes, pretty much having this hardware installed inside of you, which again, everybody thinks is nuts. But little by little, they just keep getting more desensitized to it. And I guarantee you, when this is rolled out, they'll still call people like us conspiracy theorists. And they're like, it's not what they're saying it is. It's what Steve Jobs and these people are saying it is. Or what Tim Cook is saying it is. It's not what they're saying it is. They're crazy nut jobs. Right. It's right in front of our face. So again, thanks to the subscriber on the website, Kayla Parker, for sharing this with me. Hope to see more people over on the website, which I can't announce here on YouTube anyway. If you're watching on the website, good. I'm glad you're on the website. I thank you all again for being here. I thank you for the support, everybody out there. I really do appreciate all of you who continue to subscribe and watch the content. Hope you're all well. God bless you as always and your families.